Este es el ron de computers.com otro video para ti hoy. Another customer on a third-party website where I receive compensation by answering computer and technology-related questions. Another upgrade. It's tax season, so a lot of problems with TurboTax, Quicken, blah, 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 blah. One pattern I've noticed is that TurboTax, I think 2017, on Macintosh operating system, they require that you have to have El Capitan, which is 10.11 or greater. So that's what I've been spending my last week with, because this is the third computer I've upgraded. Two of them remotely, a third one I chatted and instructed in the abstract. So I do get credit. I get compensation. I should get credit. Technically, I upgraded all three of these computers in 1 week. Here's another one. So these are instructions on how to upgrade Mac OS X Yosemite to High Sierra, 10.11 to 10.13. Now this individual could not upgrade to El Capitan even though they had Mac OS 10.11, no, 10.10.5, my bad. 10.10. Macintosh, why the fuck do these corporations do this shit? They have numbers and they have names. Just like Google with their Android operating system. They have numbers and names. It's like, pick one or the other. Here is the question. I have a MacBook Pro that was purchased in 2012. A current operating system is OS 10.10.5. I installed TurboTax in 2017. I got a message saying that I must install OS 10.11 to use this product. How do I download OS 10.11? How much will this cost? Can I do this online? I'm not going to cover what this website charges, but I just thought I'd leave the question verbatim. Yes, you can download OS 10.11 for free, which is El Capitan. 10.10 is Yosemite. 10.13 is High Sierra. 10.12 is Sierra. Can you do it online? Yes. Apple has allowed online upgrading of their Mac OS operating system. I couldn't tell you. I'm not a Mac user. 10 years at least, whatever. But especially in the last 5 years. Now, in my opinion, Apple is trying to force their users into only using two operating systems, either El Capitan or High Sierra. But it could deal, I'm not 100% certain, because this customer had 10.10.5. One of my other customers that upgraded to El Capitan from Yosemite had 10.10.5, and when I remotely connected and went to the Apple store, I was able to upgrade it to El Capitan. But I did not try High Sierra. You know what I'm saying? What I do is I try to make things simple. I could upsell and say, well, look, High Sierra is the most recent version of Apple Macintosh operating system. I think you should upgrade to High Sierra. I don't waste my time with that shit. I just, whatever the customer requests. If they're getting an error, TurboTax won't run, and it has a message saying you must have OS 10.11. I just stick to that. Because you know what? To me, you're just going to complicate things even more. Oh, well, then they might not know that 10.13 exists. And they might not understand what's going on. They just see a number. Oh, 10.11. They might not even understand what all this means. Oh, 10.10.5, 10.11, 10.12, 10.13. Oh, you mean they're different? Oh, you mean the one with you mean the numbers are linear? The numbers are sequential? You mean the number that's largest is newer? They're not going to know. They probably don't even give a fuck. They just want to solve the problem. They want their TurboTax to work. And they see that message. So I don't overcomplicate and try to upsell and say, no. And I'm not one of those technicians that, well, I don't give a fuck. I just tried to do what the customer wants. Because that is marketing. In marketing, you would know that most Americans are selfish. Cockroaches. I mean, they're selfish. Well, most humans are selfish. They only care about their own self-interest. And so you as a marketer, you as a computer technician, you can take advantage to that. Just who gives a shit about what you think? Just get the data from them, get the question, get the problem, and then solve it. And I try to solve things as fast as possible. Because the longer you take, the more irritated they become, and then they're going to take it out on you. That's classic Americanism. They're going to blame you for everything. And they're going to start yelling at you and getting, snotty. And, then they'll give you a negative rating, which on this website, that I can't get paid. And then I don't try to get technical. Now, you notice they had multiple questions. How do I download OS 10.11? How much will this cost? Can I do this online? Well, I'm not the building department. Yes, you can do it online. But what I do is I try to upsell myself. I say, look, I can either help you through remote desktop, remote connection, or chat. And then I only stick to I try to stick to only one question at a time, because otherwise you just start fucking digressing everywhere, and it just turns into a nightmare, man. So I tried to walk this individual through installing El Capitan, but it wouldn't work. So here, let's go through anything else we need to know. The computer, that's very important. With Mac OS operating system, it deals with your hardware, and so you need to know that, and especially you as a technician. If you don't know this fact that Macintosh has a flowchart and certain Mac hardware by the date, by age, will not upgrade to certain operating systems. If you don't know that, you're going to waste your time. You're going to waste your customer's time. You're going to look like a buffoon, and you know what I'm saying. You should know that. You shouldn't have to know that. But Mac has their little flowchart, but I'll wait for the false positives. I'll save that for last. So they had a MacBook Pro that was purchased in 2012. So that's good to know. So the first thing you want to do when trying to upgrade Mac OS 10.10.5, which is Yosemite, to either El Capitan, which is 10.11, Sierra, which is 10.12, High Sierra, which is 10.13, is you're going to need two pieces of information. You have to have these. You have to have an Apple ID. If you do not have an Apple ID, no bueno, muy mal, fuck you. I'm not telling you fuck you. Macintosh, Apple, that corporation is telling you to fuck you. No, you don't have an Apple ID, tough shit, you're not going to upgrade. Number two, you have to have your Mac password. You have to know your Mac password. I don't understand how it's possible that you don't know the password to your operating system, whether it's Linux, Windows, or Mac, or your Android, or your iOS, your iPhone. It defies all logic how you could forget that. I mean, that's like your social security number. That's like your address. You don't know where you live? You don't know your mailing address? No, come on. If you just moved, yeah, it takes a little while to remember it. But you don't know your social security number? Really? I mean, I don't get it. You don't know your birth date? So if you forget your Mac password that you log into your Mac with, because it's a security measure, if you don't have it, I'm warning you right now, you're not going to be able to upgrade, and you're just going to waste time downloading and going through the process. Also, if you do not have a Apple ID, you're not going to be able to download and install, and you're just going to waste time. Now, you can use somebody else's Mac ID, but you need to be careful. You want to make sure that if you use somebody else's Apple ID, I think I said Mac ID, somebody else's Apple ID. Apple ID allows you to purchase on the Apple Store. And then it also allows you to download operating systems. But for now, Apple is releasing free operating systems. El Capitan and El Capitan, definitely, and then High Sierra. But Sierra, I don't know what happened to Sierra. Most of my requests that I receive, I upgrade to El Capitan or High Sierra, so I'm not sure. maybe Apple has figured out a way, or they're doing it intentional to try to get people not to upgrade to Sierra. I don't know. All I know, I don't really have time to worry about that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I don't have time, you know? First thing you're going to do is you're going to go access the App Store. On Mac and Tosh, you can find it in the Finder, or your applications, or the dock. It comes default. Most of the modern Macintosh operating systems, I don't know when they first included the App Store as, default app. I couldn't tell you that. Quite frankly, I don't give a fuck, but that's just me. Until I own a Macintosh permanently, I don't care. But I am knowledgeable enough as a technician that I can remote in, and I can move around a Mac, and I can get them upgraded, or I can walk them through it. In the dock, which is in Windows, it's called the taskbar. At the bottom bar, which is called, I think, the dock, there's a blue circle, a blue globe, with an A that is made out of like two hatchets, or I don't know what the fuck the symbol is. It's an A for the App Store. Open the App Store. You have to use the App Store in order to download. Now, I included 2 important links in this blog post that is linked to in the description box below. Click on the link in the description of this video down below to obtain 2 very important links. Link number 1 is actually technically an iTunes link. It's a direct link to High Sierra. You have to be on your Mac. You can't be on a Linux machine. You can't be on a Windows machine. Wind blows, excuse me. It was windy yesterday, so it was an opportune time for me to just use that metaphor and silly pun, but, whatever. You must be using a Macintosh computer for the first link. It's a direct link using iTunes to download High Sierra, which will use the App Store. The second link is the hardware compatibility. If for whatever reason you're running into problems, or you might want to double check, it might save you time. Again, ignorance is bliss until you die from a vaccination. In this case, ignorance is bliss until you sit there and bang your head on a fucking lead pipe for 10 minutes, wondering why the fuck you can't install, El Capitan or High Sierra, or Sierra for that matter. It could be because your Mac is not on the hardware compatibility list. So I included a direct link to the compatibility list for High Sierra, not El Capitan, not Yosemite, not Mavericks, not Sierra. High Sierra, which is 10.13. So those are 2 very important links that I included. I don't have to do shit. I don't have to make this video if I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? So then once you open up the App Store, it's a separate app, and you have to log in. So that's where you have to have your Apple ID. You're going to have to log in with your Apple ID into the App Store. Look for the login. Now, this could be a shortcut. I know for a fact that I'm not sure how long, in my opinion, my logic tells me that until there's a new version of Mac operating system that will replace High Sierra, I don't have time for that. I'm sure it's already on the works. There might be a name for it. Quite frankly, I don't give a fuck if I don't know it yet. 10.14. For now, when you first open up the App Store, you're going to see a banner. You're going to see a Macintosh computer, and you're going to see an advertisement saying, free upgrade, or whatever the verbiage is, High Sierra, and then look for the free upgrade button. It's a call to action. For now, you can upgrade for free to High Sierra. I would click on that, and then if you're not logged in to the App Store with your Apple ID, it'll prompt you to log in. And then that's a quick way to upgrade. If your App ID is kosher, I'm not Jewish, but I use words from all types of cultures, and I try to not to use them derogatorily, except for in my group. But once in a while, yeah. But this isn't the time for that. That's for my podcast one. Anyways, So then you'll download, depending on your internet connection, it can take hours, believe it or not. If you're on a really slow internet connection, it can take hours, or if you're on a pretty fast internet connection, it can take, I don't know about minutes, because let me think. I think El Capitan is 3 gigabytes. High Sierra, I don't know off the top of my head. I'm thinking it's 4 gigabytes to maybe 6 gigabytes. It's a large file, so that has to download. And so become aware of that. Now, as long as your Apple ID is legit, you have no problems, you don't owe any money or whatever, you didn't overdraft or your purchaser. Now, here's another, should I save the tip? You're going to have to wait for my tip. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is a gold tip, but it could be a fool's gold tip. As a computer technician, this, in my opinion, is a gold tip, but it could be, but whatever. Whatever your value of gold is. That's just a man-made. Value is just man-made. Gold is not valuable at all. You can't eat it. If you find a bar of gold, what the fuck are you going to do with it? You can't do anything. You can't eat. You can't consume gold. Metals are toxic to humans in certain percentages. So the download will kick out. There will be a progress indicator, a blue bar at the bottom, as long as it keeps increasing. It'll tell you how much has been downloaded, and it'll try to estimate how long it will take. As long as that is running, you're good to go for now. And make sure you don't disconnect the internet. I think it's productive that you don't try these upgrades over Wi-Fi, wireless Wi-Fi. But again, when it comes to my customers, I try to keep things simple. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Because if I start diverting and digressing over here, well, I noticed that you're connected to Wi-Fi. I don't think you should be trying this upgrade over Wi-Fi. It'll the same thing with trying to answer multiple questions at once, or trying to inform this customer that there's a newest version of Mac operating system 10.13 when the error told them to install 10.11. That can just turn into a nightmare. You're going to confuse, you might confuse the fuck out of them. They might get frustrated and tell you to fuck off, and then you just wasted time, and then you don't receive compensation for your time. So, you know what I'm saying? I try to keep things simple and streamlined. Just one question at a time, bam. And then don't, me personally, I don't try to fucking turn into some goddamn fucking computer god or Siri. I don't turn into Siri or Alexa and then spew off a bunch of other crap that can just, you know what I'm saying, confuse the individual seeking help. Once High Sierra finishes downloading, it will prompt you. It'll open up a window, an install window. Now this is where you're going to have to know your Mac password that you log into your Macintosh computer. You have to have it. Elevated privileges. You must type in the administrator password. You must, in order to upgrade Mac OS. If you forgot it and you keep guessing, doesn't matter. You're not going to be able to upgrade. If you're lying to people and you stole the Mac computer, or you bought it from a pawn shop and the pawn shop received it from somebody that stole it, you're going to have to know the password. Now, I'm not going to talk about a possibility of going into command line and resetting your password. That's too technical at this point. That's not the problem. You should know your password. There's no excuses. Number one, you should always know your password. Number two, you should always back up your data. That's another warning. Here's my 2 warnings before you kick off the install, now that it's finished downloading. Back up your data. Macintosh upgrades are not perfect. As a matter of fact, I had one of my 3 customers in the last week that I upgraded their Macs to a newer operating system because of tax season. This other customer, when they upgraded to El Capitan, well, I upgraded them to El Capitan, but most of people that probably listen to me hate my guts, but whatever. Since I've been accused as being narcissistic, their email quit working. The built-in Apple Mail quit working after the El Capitan upgrade, and their email sounds like it's pretty important to them, and they're kind of freaking out because they claimed that they would have had 19,000 emails or whatever. They had, I don't know, 2 Google Mail, or excuse me, Gmail, and some other mail, whatever. So just be aware of that, and that's why you always want to make sure your data is backed up. No excuses. It's easy. You can get about 50 gigabytes of free storage space if you know what you're doing. And I mean, give me a fucking break. It's I mean, a 5-year-old child could learn how to back up their data, for fuck's sakes, and a 5-year-old child can remember their goddamn Mac password. You're going to have to accept some terms of conditions. Stupid copyright bullshit. So you're going to have to click accept to accept the terms, then click next, and then what else? Off the top of my head. You're going to have to choose the destination. Another caveat, another warning is you might want to unplug any external devices before you kick off this upgrade. USB flash drives, external printers, external hard drives, I would disconnect them first and then power up the Mac and then kick off the upgrade. Close all your open programs. That's another warning. I would close all open programs on your Mac, all of them. If you've still got your mail running, now I don't know for a fact. I've noticed this on Windows. If you have a certain application open and then you kick off a Windows update or you kick off an upgrade, oh, guess what? I don't believe in coincidences. Guess what? That application that was still open before you kicked off the upgrade is the one that got fucked up. Which makes logical sense because those files were in use. That happens on Linux too. And I think that's possible on Macintosh. In my opinion, I don't know for a fact. In my opinion, I think it's possible, and I'm not blaming that customer. It's possible that she still had the mail application open before she kicked off the upgrade. And then when I clicked restart, it might have triggered and it might have fucked up the mail application during the reboot and during the upgrade. Now, I could be wrong, but again, computers are not perfect. Windows 10 is supposed to sufficiently shut down all running processes, but I don't want to digress about that. These operating systems are not perfect. Even though they tell you, they market to you that don't worry, it'll kill the process and it won't no, I don't believe that. So there's some warnings. Then you're going to have to choose your destination. So this is where, to me, you might not want to have more than one hard drive connected to your computer because you might get confused, and you don't want to choose the wrong hard drive to upgrade to because that could just turn into a fucking nightmare. You know, the Mac is looking for the base files on this hard drive, but you ran the upgrade and chose this hard drive. Now, I don't know. I just don't know. Will it fail if you pick a different hard drive from the base files? Is it going to warn you? Is it going to error out? Or is it going to try to install the upgrade files on this other hard drive and try to run it off of 2 hard drives? I don't know. But, you know, instead of worrying about that, just fucking disconnect your hard drives. Now, a lot of the customers that I do help, I don't think, you know, a lot of them have MacBook Pros, but you could always hook up an external drive. But again, I try to keep things simple. Just here's my philosophy, man. I don't interject until something happens. I keep my fingers crossed, and then I try to wait. As this is how I troubleshoot. I wait until there's an error. I wait until there's a problem, and then I react because I have over 2 decades of experience. You know what I'm saying? Whereas some technicians are like, they're already thinking of problems, and they're already, you know, talking about this with their customers. And then, to me, I mean, you do what you want, but to me, man, you're just going to make them paranoid. They're going to freak out. The women, well, the men in America are probably more emotional than the women in America, whatever. So I just wait until another problem occurs, and then I deal with it then. 2 hard drives. You're going to have to pick the hard drive that you want to upgrade to. So if you only have one hard drive, you only have one choice. You choose the hard drive that you're upgrading to. So very important, you might already have an external drive that you have just for data. You might have a second hard drive. Make sure you choose the correct hard drive. Then you click next, and then let's see, you pick the hard drive. Then you're going to get a restart button. Then another window will open up, and there's going to be a restart button in the middle. It's going to say restart, and it's going to tell you blah 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 blah. Click restart to start the upgrade now. This is where I would double check and close any applications that are running on the dock, down below on the dock. It's hard to explain. It's strange to me, but whatever. Whenever there's an open application from a icon on the dock, a quick start icon on the dock, it's highlighted with like a little symbol. And so there's a little symbol on each icon that is open, that application is open. So make sure there are no symbols. Make sure that the App Store is closed. Make sure your mail is closed. Your Finder is closed. And Safari is closed. iTunes is closed. Make sure you don't have any applications running. I think it's productive that when you do kick off an upgrade, it doesn't matter what operating system is, Linux, Mac, Windows, you reboot the computer first and you don't open anything. Don't touch. Just boot the computer, log in, and then start the upgrade. That way you're certain that there isn't any additional programs that you opened up. You know what I'm saying? And then you're going to click restart, and your Macintosh computer is going to reboot, and it depends on the amount of memory, depends on the specifications, dual core, quad core. It just depends on your computer specifications. Depends on the health of your hard drive, about how long it's going to take. I can't tell you how long it's going to take. Each upgrade to me is relative. They're not all the same. You should see a progress indicator, and it's similar to the progress indicator during the download. It's just a bar that moves. And it's like Microsoft. Microsoft time is bullshit. Microsoft says, oh, don't worry, 10 minutes and these Windows updates will finish installing. No, about 10 hours later, after, you went to the club and you cheated on your wife. I mean, you know what I'm saying? As you Americans just continue to be the world's largest hypocrites. I digress. There will be an indicator, and hopefully nothing freezes up, and it'll move along, and then it'll boot back into Mac, and then you'll, depending on how have your Mac configured, you're either automatically log in or you have to enter in your Mac password, and voila, you just upgraded to High Sierra from Yosemite. Now, if you have any problems, let me go through the blog post. It's very similar to yesterday's blog post about upgrading from El Capitan to Yosemite. Oh, let me give you my possible gold tip. Especially you as a computer technician, you might want to listen up. Once you install a different Mac operating system, you've never installed El Capitan before. You've never installed Yosemite. You've never installed Sierra. You've never installed High Sierra before with your Apple ID. I think you only have to have one successful install, one successful download, and one successful install with your Apple ID. Then the next time you go to install that operating system, all you do is log in with your Apple ID into the App Store and then click on the Purchases tab, and boom, you should see Yosemite or you should see High Sierra, and then you'll be able to download it from there, and that can save you some time. And then all you do is click on it. There's even a download button. I don't know why this is. It doesn't make logical sense. It's just fucking weird shit, but whatever. These billion-dollar corporations, they're run by a bunch of schmucks, and a lot of them are fucking members of secret societies, and they're control freaks, and they're greedy, and they use you as a serf. I don't feel sorry for any of those motherfuckers. They don't use logic, man. They don't give a shit about that crap. I mean, Why? You're not purchasing anything. You didn't pay for El Capitan. It was a free download, for fuck's sakes. You didn't pay for Sierra or High Sierra. It was a fucking free download. Why don't they have a separate tab? Now they do have a tab for updates. That's another caveat. Let me talk about that. Another reason why you might be having difficulties upgrading to High Sierra is maybe there are additional updates that you did not install yet. Let's say you have El Capitan 10.10. When I own my Mac and I kick off an upgrade, here's a tip. I think it's productive that you go and check for updates first. Make sure you have all the El Capitan updates. Make sure you have El Capitan 10.10.5. I think El Capitan 10.10.5 is the last one. I could be wrong, but I think it is, because I've noticed a pattern. I don't have time to research all this shit, and I'm not going to do it for free. But I've noticed a pattern with my customers is that every single time I'm like, they all have 10.10.5, so I'm assuming that that's the latest and greatest update for El Capitan. But just in case, go in the App Store and click on Updates, and make sure that you have all the most recent updates. And that includes software. That includes the free software that comes with the Mac, like iTunes. I would upgrade everything. Make sure all of your software and all of the operating system updates are installed first, and then try to upgrade, because it's an operating system, and that can cause problems. So that could be another reason why you're not able to upgrade. You don't have the latest and greatest update to El Capitan. And if there should be a separate tab called operating systems or whatever, but you didn't purchase anything, but whatever. If you click on the purchases tab, all of the previous downloads, all of the previous Mac operating systems that you installed should show up. And that's a quick shortcut. So as a computer technician like me, I can go out into the wild. Now, I protect myself from 98% of Americans that I avoid. But hey, I have to earn money, so I do brave. Oh no, I'm not a coward. It's just I don't like 98% of Americans. I never have, I never will. If you're offended by that, fuck you, get off my fucking YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? Go cry a river somewhere else. Learn how to accept criticism. Learn how to accept free speech. When I go out into the wild, I can go anywhere. Corporate environment, residential environment, wherever there's internet access on a Mac, I can log in with my Apple ID. Bam, I click on purchases. Bam, I pick which operating system I want to upgrade to. And then I just click download. Bam, it begins to download. Bam, I sit back and I count all the fake Federal Reserve notes that I'm about to earn. And, you know, hey. So there's a tip. Anything, let me go through this. I don't want to miss anything. Not that I give a shit about kissing your ass, and this is free. This is a fucking free video. Quit complaining. Quit whining. Americans are whiners. They just whine all day. Yeah, your videos are too long. And you wonder why Americans have some of the lowest test scores on the planet. Okay. Oh, okay. Now, you must have downloaded and installed that operating system at least once successfully in order for it to show up. If it doesn't show up, it's not. I don't think it's perfect, but whatever. It may not work 100% perfect, but whatever. I don't maintain the Apple ID web servers. If this is the first time, you're going to have to access High Sierra either through the App Store, through and then also there's a featured tabs. You could click on the featured tabs, but I've noticed that every time I've logged in to the App Store, or every time I've fired up the App Store, boom, there's a big banner. I'm like, you know, there's a big image and call to action. Upgrade to High Sierra for free. Oh, okay, click. But if you can't find it, or in the future that might change, you could also click on the feature tabs. Also, there's a search bar in the App Store on Mac. There's a search bar upper right hand corner. There's a search box. You could type in whichever operating system you're trying to install. In this example, OS space X for 10 space 10.11, hit enter, and you should be able to access it that way. Or if you type in L cap, well, you'll High Sierra. Well, no, wait a minute. Yeah. Well, yeah, this example was El Capitan, but this customer, for whatever reason, they couldn't upgrade to El Capitan. But when I told them that look for the High Sierra upgrade, bam, they were able to upgrade to High Sierra. So the search bar, you can type in what operating system you're trying to install. Or there's a direct link. Is that the direct link? Yeah, that's the direct link. But you must be on your Mac. I'm getting an email from my customer, so this is a good time for me to leave. So, one of my customers. I think that's about it. I think that's pretty thorough. I'm not going to talk about troubleshooting because just like any other operating system, it can turn into a fucking nightmare. And I could make a fucking 20-hour, 24-hour, 7-day fucking live stream just about, well, let's see, your Mac won't upgrade. Why won't it upgrade? Oh, false positives, quickly before I run. You might receive a false positive, which they exist. You'll get a warning that, oh, you can't upgrade your Mac, even though you're pretty certain that your hardware is compatible. Double check, just double check. That's why I included the second link to the hardware compatibility site. Just double check the list. Make sure your Mac is compatible. But there are false positives with Apple. Oh yes, a lot of users are complaining that they're not stupid. They go in order to verify what your hardware is and what version of Mac operating system you're using, go up to the top, hit the Apple logo, the Apple symbol, click on that, click on About This Mac, bam, it'll give you some hardware specifications. It'll tell you what version of Mac you're running, OS. It'll be in a number. It'll say 10.10.5 as an example. And then also tell you your hardware specifications. Like, what's very important is the year of your Mac, the type of Mac, whether it's a MacBook Pro, a MacBook Mini, or just a MacBook. And then the year. The year is very important too. And you might have the and another problem is you might have the same hardware as a Mac that is approved on the compatibility list, but for whatever reason that Mac isn't supported, and it doesn't matter if your hardware supports it, which is fucking very strange. So I'm not exactly 100% certain what Macs are chosen by Apple to become accepted for certain operating systems, but I would go through their flowchart and double check. That can save you a lot of time. But there are false positives. It could be that you have hardware that is supported physically, but your Mac is not on the compatibility list, and it doesn't matter what you try, you're not going to be able to upgrade. And then it could be vice versa. You know what I'm saying? There could be some false positives. It might throw up a false error. And there might be, again, that's where I'm not going to talk about troubleshooting, because that just, I'm like, just, oh my God. I don't want to look, I use my brain power, but, I don't want to blow up my brain thinking about, oh my fucking God, all just these billion-dollar corporations. It doesn't matter who they are. It's just, when it comes to shit like this, it just turns into a fucking debacle that's just, there's no logic. They don't use logic. It's just dumb shit marketing. And I already gave you some tips on possible reasons why you're getting the false positive. Updates. Make sure all operating system updates are installed. Make sure all software updates are installed. What else? No external devices. Just strip it down. Remove any external devices. Close all your applications. And then, I'm not religious, but you might want to look up into the sky, and there's no, I don't believe in that bullshit. But if you're I don't want to talk about religion. I'm not religion. That's not logic. But whatever. I'm done. I don't even want to think about it anymore. I don't want to talk about what could happen or why you can't upgrade your Mac, even though it makes logical sense that you should be able to. Because on this planet, what you think is logical is not logical. I need to run. I got to deal with customers as a serf. Adios.